Welcome to the fourth annual Grant Poetry Slam. I think we have about 23 poets competing tonight. I am going to introduce your master of ceremonies for this evening. Paul Smith is a senior at Grant, and I'm so grateful that he agreed to come out and share his evening with us. So he's going to go over the rules of the Poetry Slam, introduce our judges, and then tell us about the sacrificial poet.
Hello, I'm Paul, host of this Poetry Slam. And we got some announcements here about the judges. I'm going to introduce them, start this off. I'm not prepared. All right, first off, we got Dur Lovett. Never met you. Yeah, Dur Lovett. Dur is a slam competitor who has represented Portland team in 2001 at the National Poetry Slam in Chicago and has written a self-published one-chapbook, The Kicks and Swings of John Yellow, label Sweet Corn. Next we got Taylor Knightsky. Just wicked cool last name. You're the Education Outreach Coordinator for the Hollywood Theater and the co-founder of Stories and Movement, a digital storytelling course engaging youth from Open Meadow High and Donald E. Long Juvenile Detention Home. Right on. Next we got Sarah Ryan. Team Service Specialist for Multnomah County Library, as well as the author of graphic novel Bad Houses and young adult novels, The Rules for Hearts and Impress of the World. Right on. And our last judge was a no-show, so we got a great substitute, Miss Mary Rodeback. She is an English teacher here at Grant, so that's cool. So thank you all for being here, judging these kids. It's a hard job. You're going to nail it. So next, I'm going to talk about the rules of the slam. Number 1, each poem must be of the poet's own construction. No faking. No. Each poet gets 3 minutes plus a 10-second grace period to perform one poem. The poet may not use props, costumes, or musical instruments, except maybe a piece of paper with their poem on it. I feel for you. Of the scores the poet receives from all judges, the high and low scores are dropped, and the middle scores are added together to get the total score. The top 5 scores from round 1 will go on to complete in round 2. So to test out these judges and these rules, we got a sacrificial poet who's going to come to the stage. His name is Dylan Lehman. Good luck, Lehman.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted the people who didn't have their poem memorized yet to be more comfortable. They say they can fix you, but the surgery will be rough. And in case something happens, I need to tell you how I feel. Dear Grant, you inspire me. Ever since 8th grade, afraid, myths of gangs, freshmen and trash cans tumbling down the stairs of the 80s. When I was 14 and you were 63, I felt lost in the wrong basement that doesn't connect to anything. That's how I felt sometimes. Lost and disconnected behind the bricks. When I met that girl in PE class who wouldn't give me her phone number, depressed and alone in center hall crowds and failing favorite subjects, migraine so bad I couldn't see, trying to stop spinning by holding a staring contest with a name scratched into a blue toilet stall on the 2nd floor. But trying to do high school right, I got a girlfriend, ran cross country, clubs like an addict. 10th grade, I kissed a girl in the baseball dugout, nothing more in common than the need to be kissed. You were already becoming an old building behind us. 11th grade, I grew comfortable in my own skin. Inspired in English, history, physics, editor in yearbook, lettered in speech, when 227 still had green shag carpeting. After the Army and college, when I was 30 and you were 79, I came home to you. I mentored in 129 and 135, ran a computer lab in 145 for $13 an hour, with spices in the cupboards and dress patterns in the drawers, stitching together 80 years of home ec. I was a secretary in counseling, taught without a license in room 16, my first real classroom, room 19, where I was laid off with 3 days left in the year, and ninth graders piled presents on my desk like it was you saying goodbye. Hired back in 203 that same summer, and now room 31. It was drafting before it was circuits, soldering paths from batteries to light tiny bulbs. Now it's English. We solder similes to make paths on paper and light up faces. For 11 years, newspaper or yearbook kept me late, pizza on paper plates and student desks. Like me, you taught too hard. At 42, as my hair recedes and my belly grows and my back cracks like your paint, I feel your age. At 91, your library roof leaks, ideas percolating like drops of water into poetry slams. Grant, I need to tell you how I feel. I love the veins of curved wood on stairwells from 1924. I love your seams, scars, and wrinkles, and the half-erased tattoos and painted-over murals you can still see. I've watched gravity and time sag your heavy auditorium bad sound because it still echoes from 90 years of plays and songs and songs and songs. People laughed, so I kept secret that I visit you in the slow empty of summer, standing in my classroom with the lights out but the sun on the waxed floor. They say they can fix you. But worst case, I know I'll see your eyes and cheekbones and grandchildren and great-grandchildren remodeled from the same DNA. But I'll miss the basement tiles swollen like terrain features in the rooms that taught me lessons, scars in tables from yearbook razor blades before cut and paste was a metaphor. I'll miss the room of that bad health class, the one where I sat next to my future wife, the one who wouldn't give me her phone number, 282-3564. When I am old, maybe 65 to your 114, we'll say goodbye again. But I'll still visit in the slow empty of summer, with the lights out but the sun on the wax floor. Maybe one of my students will teach here, hint, hint. But I know my children will have graduated from where their parents met. I know there will be poetry slams in a library that doesn't leak. I know ninth graders will still get lost, whether or not the basements connect. Could the basements please connect? I know teachers will still get old, one graduation at a time. Lovers will still meet. Kids who have nothing in common will still kiss. Future best friends will be randomly placed next to each other. Kids will still sleep in class or sit up, excited. Grant, in case something happens, I need to tell you how I feel. I love you.
I loved it, but I'm a little weepy. Thanks, Mr. Lehman. So just checking the crowd, we were waiting for one other judge, Versatile, but that judge did not show up? Okay. One judge that wasn't announced, and I have to give her props, and now I'm getting weepy again, my oldest friend, and I only say oldest because she was the first person I met when I moved here 18 years ago. So the friend I've known the longest, Enia Weisberg, is a film professor at Pacific University, and she's been a judge every year we've had this poetry slam, so I'm really happy that she's here tonight. Thank you. Okay, poets, you have 3 minutes. You get a 10-second grace period. Miss Brandy is keeping track of the time, so when we get to 3:10, she is going to yell, "Time!" You can keep going, but just know that for every 10 seconds you go over, it's a whole point deduction. So, talk fast. Okay, I'm going to bring Paul back up. I am going to be his Vanna White with the fishbowl, and he will choose the first poet's name.
I literally forgot a judge. Why am I the MC? Okay. Violet Summersby.
Okay. Am I close enough yet? All right. Mama, Mama, come home. Mama, please come home. When I was 5, I was alone, left in my house by my mama who went out. She made one promise, one she didn't keep, to come home that night and kiss me goodnight. Mama, you said, Violet, I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna hold you and tell you goodnight. But Mama, you didn't. You left me alone. You left me alone under the moonlight. No, more like the shadows and my blanket I held too tight. Until my knuckles turned white, I shivered and shook. I could not cry. I was too scared that this was goodbye. Mama, I love you. I wish I could say you had always been there. I wish I could say you wrapped me up in your arms and told me, Bubba, it's gonna be all right. But Mama, I can't. For you left me alone. I was 5, and I was alone. I hid in the corners with my cat by my side and prayed to the heavens you'd come home that night. But Mama, you didn't. But what if you did? Maybe I'd believe in the man in the sky. Maybe I wouldn't remember that night. But Mama, you didn't come home. Mama, you lied. And Mama, I cried. I cried so much that very night. But Mama, I want you to know. Mama, I love you. Mama, I love you so much. You're the only Mama I got. You're the only, I know you know that you're my Mama because I came out of your womb. So Mama, I love you. You left me alone, and no, it's not all right. But you've made up for that night. Mama, I love you. Good night.
Okay, and our next poet is Lillian Williams.
Oh my God. Okay. I love you, Mom. Even when you were in the basement with the moldy dirt walls and crumbling concrete. The basement with the wooden water warp stairs and the ancient old door with locking mechanisms buried so deep into its hard paint chipped skin and the broken doorknob that would only open with the click of a butter knife. The basement who did wonders and tricks of magic of all sorts, making our spoons disappear and leaving the forks. The basement that attracted strange people. The basement that left you oblivious to anything that was happening upstairs. The basement that was full of shit that was stolen and traded for our food stamps. The basement that made my medicine disappear when I was sick and had to stay home from school. The basement where we had to hide when we were jolted from our beds in the middle of the night when the strange people were mad. Get them out, I screamed. Okay, you snapped. The basement that made you lie. The basement underneath the bathroom with the rusty faucet and the leaky bathtub pipes that would leak if the water passed a certain point. The basement that made you forget to pick me up from school. The basement in the little green house on the corner of West 9th. The basement that pushed you to your worst. The basement that ripped me away from your arms. The arms marked in the crook of your elbow when you tried to cover up when you actually picked me up from school. I wasn't naive, and I've seen that stuff on TV. I know you got them from strangling your arm with a belt, and I know you got them from cooking our dope and our missing spoons. I know you got them from taking the needles and shooting them into your arm. I know why you always had Q-tips or cotton balls. I noticed and I observed. I watched your mood changes. The basement that pushed your recovery and brought you back to me. My mom, mine. So thank you, basement. I finally have my mother back, and it's all because of you and the shit that you put us through. I finally have my mom. In a new house, with a new basement, new strangers that became friends. We actually have spoons now to eat a bowl of soup, cereal, or any food at all for that matter. The bathroom is still a little beat up, but at least we can enjoy a warm bath now without worrying about the pipes leaking. My mother's arms are no longer marked in the crook of her elbow, but are full of tattoos of encouragement. A new house, a new beginning, and new memories to create. I'm growing to love this new little house. And I know we've moved on, but I know that a new family will grow to love you. They'll love your moldy dirt walls and crumbling concrete. They'll love your wooden water warp stairs and the ancient old door with the locking mechanisms buried so deep into your hard paint chip skin. They'll love your broken doorknob that can only be opened with the click of a butter knife. And I know that they will love your rusty faucet and leaky bathtub pipes from the bathroom up above. I love you, Mom, even when you were in that basement.
Okay, here we go. If I say your last name wrong, just tell me when you get up here. And that goes for a lot of people. Nikki Kimes? That's right. Yeah.
I war over my mind and heart. Every day I lose hope, reeling backwards from the blow I dealt myself, creating something new, something dark, something evil. I hug myself because the warriors are dead. I am alone. I lick my bones clean, trying to live. On the other side, they stand strong. I will not fall, though. Starving, I eat all that pass, even if it's poison. With my friends by my side, I am invincible. We fight a lone soldier, but it feels wrong. We tread on our turf, spreading death over the fields. Why am I like this? I broke a promise to myself not to care. Now I'm split. I tear my flesh from bone with sickening sound and blood everywhere. Chills run down my spine, my bare spine. I stare in the mirror at the black bones which make me, all flesh gone. The clacking of bone on bone, the scrape of my feet on cement as I run to hide from them, from me. I can't believe that she and I, we are the same. That she reads my heart. I will destroy her. We do not belong together. I hold my people close, knowing they can't last here. My smiles will fade, as will I. But we will rid of her before I vanish. She is a beast so duty-oriented and afraid that she won't reach out, she won't touch mankind. She eats her only companions, the animals and plants around her. Her skeletal form, a disgusting excuse for a human. She is a corpse without anything to hold her together. How she stands, runs, and fights is a mystery to me. But there she is, relentlessly attacking my friends without pause, like she doesn't feel. She acts like I can't feel. She doesn't stop chasing me, not even to eat. I hide from her. I can deal with her shadows, but she is strong. She never runs from battles. She destroys the soldiers I send at her. They fall into the shadow, not to be seen again. She may be only a vague reflection of a woman, but she is strong. Her ignorance is disturbing, how she smiles in battle. Her indifference is frightening. She kills without looking back. Who is she? Can't she feel? Why? Why can't I be in unity? Unity with myself. I fight this war. I try not to think about it. I can't keep up because I'm too busy fighting my own civil war. Judges, are you ready? All right, let's see Nikki's score. 6.1, 7.3, 7.0, 6.7, 6.7. Applaud the time.
Jessica Alexander.
How close do I stand to this? That good? Yeah? Okay. I was only 8 when he took my innocence away, and now I am only filled with hate. You took advantage of me when you were the only one I trusted, and my ability to love is now rested. When he looked at me, my blood turned to ice and overflew with a terror flooding my body, a nightmare every single night of never knowing if I would be all right. You always chose times when I couldn't escape. I was always afraid that what would happen yesterday would happen again today. I left my home and I left my life behind to escape from you. You were like a father to me, but no real father would ever touch his daughter. There are many things that I don't like to talk about, like where I'm from and why I miss so much school, and that is because it all traces back to you. PTSD, anxiety, and depression are what I developed, not to mention the everlasting paranoia towards of everyone around. The lying, crying, cutting, and trying to find something to live for left me scarred inside and out. Ma ti voglio bene, Jessica. I don't understand how you could say you love me right after you got off messing with your niece. And because of you, I will never be able to go back home without the memory of being misused. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of everyone who had a childhood because I was robbed of mine before I even knew what it was. People say everything happens for a reason, but for what logical reason could this have happened? Why would you do that to the person who loved you most? Questions that cyclone in my head, causing more destruction the more I think about it. When you keep a secret, it stays at the back of your throat and burns you whenever you're alone. I finally broke my silence about what happened, and my family turned their back on me, laughing, saying I was lying. I've been told that I could have stopped it from happening, but how would a little girl have the power to stop a 40-year-old man? I will never be able to call you uncle, only the pathetic, pedophilic loser who took advantage of a younger version of me. But no matter how many ugly things I call you, none will ever be ugly enough to describe you. You taught me that there are truly evil people in this world. Every day is a struggle trying to get through the rubble of my broken life. Many times I've tried to end my life, but why let you win? I'm always embarrassed to talk about what happened, but the shame should be yours, not mine. Every time I think about you, I just start screaming. It doesn't help with the healing, but it makes me realize I am still alive here breathing. I will never get justice for what happened, but when the day comes that I see you again, I will spit in your fucking face. But until then, I will make the most out of my life. What happened to me is not my fault, and it never was. I'm tired of living in fear. I just want to live.
Sadie means? Shoddy, that's right, shoddy means. Yeah, it's shot. Sade. Sade means.
Can you hear me? You guys can hear me? Okay. A little bit. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. I have a confession to make. Pain and emotions are not toys, but you put them into the wrong hands, they can be played with. Played as in little kids' toys, played as in Monopoly and light board games, so when you roll the dice, you either buy, trade, or move. Played as in Barbie dolls, where girls dress them up with short skirts and t-shirts, and played as in video games, so when you entertain yourself for a few hours, and then you end up buying a new one. So open your eyes and realize realities and not the fantasies, because when ignorant boys grow up into men, they create sin and peel our happiness with sadness, and then The pain that you gave us is the pain that we cover with makeup and a smile to enhance our outer beauty from the bluish tattoos we received from you. Pain is a deep hole to hell, and it's hard to crawl back to heaven one fight at a time. And because of pain is like chocolate ice cream shoved down to our throats to avoid the issues we face. We always say, sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will always hurt. Therefore, no matter what we say, things will never change, because if we show our pain and emotions, men like you will think we are too sensitive to know the real deal. So what is it? Let's be honest here. Women like us is stronger than men like you. Men like you are expired to gum attached to our Nike shoes. And men like you are believers that women are supposed to be your slaves. Slaves is in sex slaves. Slaves is in baby moms that are desperate for money and will do anything for you. Slaves is in strippers, so we can strip off our clothes so we can drop it low and make sure our openings will show. Slaves is in chefs that wear underwear and heels only, so when we cook, we satisfy your needs. And sometimes as women, we give more than we should and what they need to a man who don't even treat us good. So what do you think? Because women like us ain't doing a damn thing. Because when tears fall down into her face and blood suddenly appear onto her brown skin, and when she wear makeup, it's to cover the imprinted bruises you put on her shins. And then when she starts smoking and drinking to ease that stress because she is so depressed, she starts to think that's what's best. So what do you expect? To forget the ex and forget the next, because the one you have right now will be your last, because men like you is the irritating cavity of a rotten tooth, and men like you is the old pair of 1951 combat boots, and men like you are victims who use hands for violence instead of for love. And guess what? Your love is so fake, they stamp artificial flavors onto their chest and heart, so their love that you have for us, we don't need, because we always say pain and emotions are not toys. We say blood, tears, and pain was never a woman's dream. We say sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will always hurt. But because of pain, we will never be the same, because they treat us like Barbie dolls and board games. They treat us like strippers and sex slaves. They treat us like bubblegum rappers and fake rings. But one day, women like us will be heard. We have a voice and a brain, so use it.
Nika Bartu Smith.
Okay, hi. Can you guys hear me? Kind of? No? Like this? Okay, well, yeah, okay, I'll just squat. Okay, thanks. Yeah, is that good? All right. I was born into a world of hate, where you cannot love who you want, certain love a disease, where women are taken into the hands of society to be molded like clay into someone new. Brushed hair, changed clothes tighter and tighter the way our bodies should be. Inanimate objects controlled by those in power. I am a spark of light sent down on earth to spread love. I am the sun chasing away the darkness. I fight a battle that may never be won. Young girls grow up in a world where they are taught to change who they are. I was taught to change. In 4th grade, 7th, 8th grade, I had short hair. I was a pixie with the mohawk of ever-changing color. I loved myself, at first, until my friends asked me why. Why did you cut your hair? Why do you want to look like a boy? I did not want to look like a boy. I was a strong woman. I am a strong woman. And beauty cannot be defined. We are all beautiful. I am beautiful. I am the moon's rays of glimmering hope on earth. I am Athena. I am wise, will kick your ass, and I know I look good. Humans, trapped in a galaxy of hate, our minds controlled by people behind the media. People on a throne tell us who to be. Media raises us to hate ourselves, to find every flaw. It's time we were taught to love ourselves. I conquered hate, dragged evil to the center of the earth, where it popped and cracked and turned into kindness and hope that rushed to the corners of the world. I am magic. I am a tiger, fierce and strong, the defender of all those innocent. Women wear makeup like a mask, applying eyeliner straight and thin the way our bodies should be. The closer you get to the mirror, the more flaws you find. Makeup, a wall to protect us from a storm cloud of hate and criticism that is inescapable. It circles around and around and around until it drives us crazy. Crazy like the world we live in. I gaze into the eyes of every baby girl and boy and see love and acceptance, passion and hope. I watch those babies grow. I see their minds cloud with fear and hate. I see men look at women as objects as we walk down the hallways of hormones and the need to fit in, minds clouded with the teachings of society. Women are seen only for our bodies, but we know the truth. Our bodies are only shells housing our souls within. True beauty lies inside. I am a mirror. Look inside. Don't be afraid. I show the truth. You are beautiful. I am Mother Earth, giving life to unborn creatures. I am the spirit, whose touch heals, whose voice is Cupid's arrow. I am the protector of women, the defender, the warrior who battles sexism. But I'm afraid. Afraid I might still look to clothes and makeup to find the confidence I need to survive. I'm afraid that I will let society worm its way into my mind, grab the controls, and convince me that I am not enough. I am afraid.
Judges, show your scores. 6.5, 6.8, 7.0, 7.6, 7.7.
All right, we got Maya Montgomery.
I'm Maya Montgomery. This poem is called The Faucet Leaks. Drip, drip. The faucet leaks as I stare into the mirror of the bathroom sink. I don't move except to breathe. Drip, drip. Because I know that if I break the deceptively calm surface of the water, my reflection will blur from the ripples, and it's already hard enough to recognize myself. Drip, drip. The water muffles the echoes of the words, heavy words tossed at me casually that I slipped into my coat pockets like river stones. They weigh me down, down, drip, drip. Smile more, they tell me, so I stare into the mirror of the bathroom sink, watch my frozen lips, and try to feel anything but tired. Because they don't know that if I open my mouth, the murky darkness will come pouring down my throat, filling up every inch of me until I am nothing more than waterlogged debris. Drip, drip. And they don't know how easy it is to fake a smile, to plaster one onto my stiff face and rip it off like duct tape the second I don't need it anymore. No, this is not something that can be solved with a few fake smiles. I can't fix the cracks in this dam. I can't patch up the holes in this roof with a few pieces of duct tape. Believe me, I've tried, and that ended badly. Drip, drip. It ended like it always does, whether a sudden storm hits or the water level slowly rises. It ends with the walls collapsing, the water crashing, roaring in my ears. I do my best in the cold quiet beneath the surface, but I can't hold my breath for very long. Drip, drip. The tears in the sink are lost because I'm overflowing, pipes bursting, the room is flooding. All I could do is hope it drains away before anyone else gets caught in this tsunami. Drip, drip, because I won't risk opening my mouth to ask for help. Instead, I'll try to fight the current that pulls me towards that same waterfall every time, but no one ever taught me how to swim in this, and every time I go under. Drip, drip. Some days I can just jump over the puddles. Other days it takes all my strength to wade through. Some days I drown. So I stare into the mirror of the bathroom sink, words echoing muffled in my ears, trying to feel anything but tired, hating the feeling of a fake smile on my face. And I wish it was as easy as turning off a leaky faucet. Drip.
Judges, are you ready with Maya's scores? Okay, let's see the scores. 9.5, 8.0, 7.7, 9.0, 8.5.
Uh-oh. We got Carter Bryan. Hold on, I know I'm going to have to do this.
Oh, you're being too generous, man. All right. When one finds himself walking, leather-bound feet kicking up the dust on the sidewalk, carving the cement on that first perfect day of the year, button-up pinstripe shirt tucked down beneath slick black jeans matching up the black and white suit jacket peppermint bow tie with the rest of the street, held like silk in your hand and reflected in your sunglass lenses, that is when I thought to myself, this day, man, this is the first day when at last I can feel as tall as I look. And that day, on that sunlit pavement holiday spent with a strut only found once in a century, of all the times and things I could remember, what tugs at my attention the most is something several shades darker. Someone who had seen the same sun that I had saw for the first time in her life, because whenever she looked at me, done up, eyes glinting, I realized that I must have looked like somebody else. Because whatever I said, she seemed to take as truth, like I knew what I was saying, until I realized that this little friend of mine was just as scared as I am on all of the 364 other days of the year. So I remembered when one finds himself walking, last in line for conversation with the mind drawn blank, and every other page of the book forgotten, with every other word lost underfoot, fallen hopelessly low, when you thought for the past 6 years that all you could do was think. Because when that subconscious paint splatters, hits the canvas, then the masterpiece painters of what you think and what you say take their art, stone-cut acrylics miles high, spiraling across stone walls, eons past wondering, until you make eye contact. We've all read the equations of forgotten exchanges, memorized the inked-in gashes slipping through your head like oxygen splintering down with each breath, inward spat back out, wordlessly, each wayward glance across the classroom set on that one particular nothing, each hours-long pause between syllables that you wanted so badly to be prolific, each time you tighten up your spine, walking away with your lips stung and burning from the fishing wire, passed through your mouth, hell-bent on keeping that stitchwork lockbox from stretching too far, even as you slip the same needle through your eyelids. That silence, that inverse kaleidoscope so pretty 10 minutes ago, now dripping down the wallpaper, keeping your thoughts tabloid exclusive, so universally incendiary that you finally end up seeing what that end-all, be-all philosophy had been bellowing the whole time in each silent second, and it tells you to forget yourself and grin those 3 shades brighter. Thank you.
Let's see Carter's scores. 6.7, 8.6, 6.8, 7.9, 8.2.
Rachel Perry?
Hello. This is for the boy who was discovered in the morning. When he didn't come downstairs for breakfast, she walked up and found him hanging from his boyfriend's belt, with lips blue like the bruises the kids at school left on his rib cage. And this is for the boyfriend, who blames himself. Every night is a struggle to fall asleep because he can't stop thinking about what he could have done to protect the one boy in the world who was there for him. This is for the girl who will never see her parents again because their love came with terms and conditions, and she didn't read to the part that said that if she fell in love with a girl, she was out on the street. This is for the girl whose throat burns with corrections when the kids at school call her a him, but she never lets those corrections spill out. This is for everyone who's ever felt unsafe because they were told that they fell in love with the wrong people. Everyone who's ever felt like the pronouns taped to them at birth were more of an attack than an identification. This is for the boy who suffocates himself with duct tape and ace bandages, trying to hide the fact that his body isn't what he wants. He cuts his arms into ribbons to free himself from a mother who denies his depression and a father who just wants his baby girl back. He tries to claw Katie off his skin, but she's stuck there like a brand, like, you will never be a real boy. This is for the man who lost 3 teeth, 2 pints of blood, and his dignity when he was beaten for picking up the groceries and heading back home to his husband. This is for the woman dying in the hospital after a car crash and her partner trying to scramble through the doors to see her. This is for the partner's screams of, "This can't be it. I can't, you have to let me in. I can't say goodbye to her, not like this." And this is for all of those who are listening in the hospital waiting room, among the year-old magazines and news stories playing softly on an ancient TV screen. The ones who are disgusted that they won't let her pass, the ones that want to stand up for her, but are afraid, the ones who have to get up and walk outside because it hits too close to home. But this is also for the happy stories, for the boy who kisses the freckles on his boyfriend's nose and the boyfriend who runs his fingers through the boy's hair, for the girl who traces constellations onto my back as we fall asleep, hoping to make me dream of the stars, the woman who may have finally gotten her parents to call her their daughter, and the man sitting in the hospital next to his husband of 46 years, happy in the knowledge that, even though he's saying goodbye, he's still in the room where he was meant to be. Thank you.
Okay, let's see Rachel's scores. 7.6, 8.9, 8.4, 9.0, 8.7.
Son Richer.
Okay. I hate microphones. All right. Do you want to talk about it? They all whisper in unison, with their hand on my back or my shoulder and their thoughts a mystery, leaving me to assume the worst. What if they think that my red swollen eyes and my tear-drenched cheeks are just an unneeded cry for attention? What if behind their seemingly caring eyes lie rolling ones? What if they think I put the pathetic in sympathetic? See, I never wanted to be a burden. I don't want to draw unnecessary attention to myself, but at the same time, I wish someone would listen and maybe understand instead of telling me my problems aren't real. Because one can only take that so many times. The rolling eyes that don't see me notice them. The perfect lips on confident bodies that tell me I am skinny and therefore shouldn't have problems. Or the sharp tongues that spit the misfortunes of those in Africa and Japan, and the cold eyes that command me to get over it. And of course, the many older minds that think my age should determine the authenticity of my problems, and maybe they're right. Maybe my problems aren't real, because in the corner of my eyes, in the corner of my mind lays the knowledge that they are, but the words and looks and judgmental faces are all scrambling to get in and devour it, and every day I can feel them, feel the talk and see the subtle hints that something isn't quite right in their life, and they're all such amazing people. None of them deserve this. And I never wanted to be a burden, so it kind of sucks that I feel like one every time I mention something that isn't sunshine and rainbows, because they all have their own problems and they don't need mine. Because I know that I'm a bother. Because I know what tumbles through people's minds when I share something in class. Because because I know it tumbles through people's minds when I share something in class, because they tell me in the hallways, give me that look of pity, like I'm a freak. Because the word psycho in their heads and in their mouths, but I guess it's all in my head. Because if I'm not saying that people make me feel like I'm irrelevant, then I'm saying that I do. Because if I'm not catching the attention of the people that should be paying it, and I'm scaring the others in the process, then what do I do? Nothing seems to work. Maybe I should smile less, because if I don't fit into the image I'm depressed, then it's on me, right? Nothing is working because I never wanted to be a burden.
sharing silly anecdotes in class, hoping that everyone has forgotten about the time I shared what I wish I could say. Scared to ask attention because someone might give me the wrong type. Trying to make myself into an individual that doesn't stick out too much, and all the while stretching myself too thin, and if I keep going like this, then I might just break like bang! Do you want to talk about it? No, I'm fine, just a little tired today.
Sun scores 7.6, 7.1, 8.9, 7.7, 8.0.
Grace Cowich? Cowich. Cowich? Cowich. It's Grace.
Hold on for a second. Okay, I go. Can you listen to me, guys? Yeah. Okay, then. Hi, guys. Let's see. Here you go. Hold on. I did my steps. Okay. Family comes in, now it's out. Let's come with us, now it's home. Home makes awesome, but not for family member. Oh, maybe we're back. Maybe we'll come together, but they're cool. Family is us, but not for long. She's also wonderful, my mom and dad, but mostly my family, and I went over here. Over here makes me smile, but not all the time, because she's always over here for me. He's also not cool, but mostly cool, because he knows my way, but not for long. He's my favorite kind of girl, but I still love my family. Families come from never solve. I get friends in the world, no way. It's also my test, but not exactly my point. Point is, I have a great family, entire world. I make my time, but not so long. I make memories in the school. Where is my favorite home, and this class, because it's part of my family. All my teachers and friends, all my families too with me. I like all the world, but not for long. But I still love here. Power was like how. Well, I like you, but not for long. I still like you. Well, I'm me. I'm awesome, but I'm more cool. But my family is awesome, but not for me. I never be cool, but never loud. My family is with me. Very well back. Mary Roback is part of my sales life. She's also my brother, cause my family and my hope. My hope is love, but not for long. My family is still right here with my love and destiny. Over here, my point, but my family love blood, love wrong, and makes my time very cool. Thank you, guys.
Grace's scores. Okay. 7.5. 7.5, 7.6, 7.0, 8.8.
Asadol? Asa. Asadol.
Love you too.
Home. People think that home is your house where you'll feel the happiest, like you could rule the world and no one could stop you. The box-shaped thing you go to every night, yeah, that thing, my house. You see, that's not my home. A home is not where I cry. I cry because I scream. I cry because I hide. I hide from the monsters that live with me. I cry because there is no money to steal or even save, no food to put away, no family, just monsters. Monsters who have threatened to take my life. My home is not where my family separates from our heart-thick bonds, a bond so thick it would take 1,000,000 armies to make the smallest dent. But yet we run away from the house, from the monsters, the house that is not a home. Doesn't it mean where you live? Doesn't it mean you can be happy? Doesn't it mean you can relax? Doesn't it mean you can escape the world there? Escape, that's nice, isn't it? You know, escaping from the drama, chaos, life. I want to know, I want to know what home is where you can be happy, where you can listen to music and not have to look over your shoulder. The same shoulder that is not bruised from the night before. I want a home where I could walk in and smell fresh-baked cookies. Laughter fills the home where you see sunlight glittering and dancing on the floor like a soul that's happy to be alive. Where you can lay in bed and just think, let the silence consume you, and you can finally just breathe. Home is such an indescribable word. It's a word so many people use, but so few know. It's a word that describes a place where you'll feel safe, where you feel wanted,
Love from the inside out, happy. But sadly, it's a word I despise, loathe, discriminate. I hate it. It's a word I cry at every time I say it. Yeah, I cry at a stupid word. I cringe at the sound of it. I spit at the taste of it. I run at the sight of it. I run. I run like the wind, like I never want to stop. Yeah, I run. I run so far, I circle the city as many times there are bruises on my back. Home is different from everyone. It's a place you can laugh, where you have fun, where you can giggle, be silly, be a kid, act your age, where laughter won't turn into silence. Where silence won't turn to swallow you, where talking won't turn to shouting, shouting so loud you hear it the next day, where the shouting won't turn into a broomstick. 1, 2, 3. On my back, over my head, along my wrist, the wood touching my skin, just like 1, pushed down, collapsed to my knees, trapped in the corner, the only way is down. 2, crying, covering my ears, Dad, shut up. Silence. 3, where the shouting won't turn into sirens, sirens will haunt you for hours, days, nights, dreams. Hours that you've worked for, work that barely pays the bills, bills that threaten to take away your house, the hollow, empty one, where your family with the hard, thick bonds is, your legacies that got passed down from generation to generation to generation. The legacy your family built, remember? Remember the good times? Not the times you just wanted to disappear? Remember the smiles on all the faces that turned into the monsters? The laughter that echoed through the halls of rooms, the giggles that came from the smiles. The smiles that brighten 1 million faces because they share the same hope. The hope that makes a person want to see how the worst turn into the best. The hope that makes me want to stick around. The hope that makes my home and family stronger by the day.
Okay, judges, are you ready? Let's see the scores. 7.7, 6.7, 7.0, 7.1, 7.3.
Sydney Oliver.
I miss when we used to play pretend, where you were always the dashing heroine and I was perfectly content with being your loyal sidekick, because even when we were 2.5, I knew that any sacrifices could be made to have a friend like you. And that's still true. I never liked the limelight, so you took it all for me, and though you could never be a sidekick you were loyal to. But not the pretend you play now, where friends you haven't even met, Photoshop pictures and sarcastic remarks on Facebook is now your reality, where there's no face-to-face. When was the last time you had the courage to stick your nose in a book and finish it? You can't handle the commitment, you're afraid of how it ends. And I can't remember the last time you faced me. I'm starting to forget what exact shade of brown your eyes are. You were always independent, not dependent. Now you rely on that blank screen that is mirrored in your eyes. Use up all of you online, so there's none left for me, your friend, right here in real life. Einstein once said that technology would surpass our human interaction, but there's nothing relative for you in your alternate reality. It goes hand in hand, hands of virtual avatars enclosed by the sweaty hand on the mouse. People brag about the friends they've amassed on Facebook, collections of snow globes, but no matter how much I shake you, you're stuck in your dome. But how many friends can you count on your hands? Not the hands that fondle mouse pads or lovingly caress keyboards, fingers tapping away on touchscreens, no. I'm talking about the hands that wave, hands you shake, hands you hold, hands that go in for the hug, and hands that initiate the secret handshake you've forgotten. All your friends have left you because they don't know what to say to a robot, but you cover well. You were always the greatest actress with the terrible poker face. You would be there in a fighting stance, daring anyone to defy you, knowing you had won, and that's always how we knew. But you're not victorious anymore. You don't have your fists raised, your chin held high. You don't want anyone to defy you because you think you're not worth defying. You fall to the cold, unforgiving ground, not with a flourish, but with dead weight. You were always the talkative one, so I evolved into a listener. But now how am I supposed to listen to the deafening noise of your painful silences? I'm drowning in the unspoken words and unbroken silences, but I'm afraid if I break the silence, you break too. You're drowning in the melted snow, your old nickname that trickled through your fingers when your friends who gave you the persona deserted you. But we should have known that snow always melts. And I have to hear this from somebody else because now you only speak when spoken to. And I fear your computers turned you into an automaton because we always confided in each other. But I'm afraid if I tell you these things now, you'll melt too. And as my tears fall into my mother's lap because I don't know what to do for you and because I can't put up pictures on milk cartons where I don't even know what you look like anymore because I am fighting a battle that you have already surrendered, but I can't let you see my tears because you are always the strong one, but I have to be strong now, so I'll put on my brave face, my actress's mask, like you. But my poker face must stay intact. Thank you.
Sydney scores. Let's see them. 8.3, 8.3, 8.4, 8.4, 9.5.
Moya Woods.
I'm gonna need some help with this. I once was short, believe it or not. Thanks, Mr. Lehman. This poem is called Missing. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. I miss you, like a fish out of water, sand blown a million miles from desert. I miss you. While my friends were off in hell called school, you were my last minute home, a secure starting point entering back to co-ed chaos, found in the form of a school building. I miss that picnic when friendships blossomed like a water lily brought to life in my palm. The ice cream social when my eventual twin and I wore the same summer reading shirt. Gray, of course, short-sleeved and paint-stained. I won't forget first bus ever rode to school, 9 years new, filled with laughter and shrill screams so loud bus driver pulled over on side streets, used her outside voice. I miss how every morning my lungs would seal into an airtight box exactly 1 inch cubed, forcing me to complete 2 laps with confidence, slightly out of breath. Rockstar buddies filled my mornings with 1,000 times hello. The hammock on 22nd brightened my afternoons. It never bothered me that half of science was office or that math was connected to daycare and first grade. Oranges in lockers and the air thick with scents of too many perfumes taught me to be who I am, to block out everything else, to play to my strengths. I miss Viernes and geometry too. Geometry that taught me that the triangle, 3 sturdy walls and 3 angles to support them was the strongest shape because somehow my trio of friends crumbled to dust at 3:15 the last day. When he asked her to the dance, I was suffocated. 4 corners of the world closed around me, threatened to suck the very last drops of ecstasy from seeing his face out of the corners of my eyes. Blue pens wrote my way through these troublesome days. Contemplating this phase never ceased to amaze, and I started to miss things so much. The nostalgia erupted through deadly disease I could taste like a cough drop, trying to mend my throat, red, sore from lifetimes worth of tears. Salt-stained cheeks marked by the scars of innocence and longing brought one realization: yes, I would leave soon. But I couldn't. I couldn't forget. Your memories were the last droplets of water on a riverbed about to go dry. Goodbye. I'd wished enough times not to remember bad things, choir, art, how the first 2 weeks gave the Berlin Wall as a doorway into cliques matured from ripe age 5 without me, but I couldn't forget. I couldn't say goodbye. You see, when I say I miss you, I don't want to forget. I don't want to say goodbye. I want to continue making memories every day that I live on this earth, and I thank you. I thank you.
Okay, let's see the scores. 7.1, 6.8, 6.5, 7.2, 7.1.
Zach Burry.
So, can you guys hear me? Okay. My poem's called Zach's Poem of a Long Way Gone. I keep running by myself. I keep hiding by myself. I don't know where I'm going, where I'm heading. I guess I'll find out when I get there. I guess I'll find out when I arrive. Pocket stuffed with cassettes of rap albums. Didn't know I was leaving home, never to return. When guns like thunder took over town, everyone left behind. Everything hassled went down. I ran, I crawled, then ran some more. When day turned to night, I laid on the floor, afraid to stay asleep, afraid to stay awake. Then I lost my brothers. My heart throbbed with pain. Wanted to blame, but there was nothing to blame. All these memories I wished I could wash away. Running around looking for something I didn't want to see. I lost my touch, got anger and disbelief. My father said if there's nothing good left in one's destiny, he or she will die. That's what drove my spirit and kept me alive. People were terrified about my boys of my age. A couple of villages threatened me to stay away. The only freedom I had was my thought. No one could see it when I was being caught. I was always losing everything that meant something to me. That's why I started fighting for the government army. They kept me cocaine and some with white capsules. Killing became easier than drinking water. Looking at rebels just made me angrier. They don't deserve to live. I must kill them. They lost everything that makes them human. My rule to kill or to be killed. We were dangerous, brainwashed. To be killed, I felt no pity for anyone. My heart had frozen still. Some nights the sky swept stars that folded into darkness. Under these stars, I used to hear stories. Now it seems the sky was telling me a story. As the stars fell before my wishes could meet them. No time to think about these reasons to explain. I could talk about war, but there was nothing that existed. Now I tried to stay in my life. New life, but nothing to blame. Wanders back. I tried to think what my childhood was, but I can't. I can still hear the cries that see to blood. I had run so far away from war, only to be caught back in it. I wanted to keep and tell the stories that I found, but there was no right words. I could wish that I could go back into the beginning and change it all. I don't want to hide it now. Don't need to hide it now, but I want to hide from myself. I'm so used to running. I can't run so fast, but I keep running from myself.
Judges, are you ready? Okay, let's see the scores. 7.2, 7.2, 6.7, 6.7, 7.3.
We got Adonna Earl.
Okay. Hello? You hear me? Okay. Standing, breathing, living, me, I'm here, I'm alive. 34,598 people have died because they no longer wanted to wait for a day that would never come, making suicide one of the top 10 causes of death in America. 2,000 of those are teens, but those are the only ones who have succeeded. 998,000 have failed at an attempt of ending their life, making that one more thing they fail at.
One more thing they can't get right. One more thing people have to judge them about. Make that 998,001. Because I was one of those statistics. Because at night when I'm left alone to my thoughts, I wanted to sleep forever and never wake up. I wanted to take the gun of depression and press it to the temple of insanity and pull the trigger on life to shatter the memories and thoughts that keep me awake at night. I wish I could take the knife of freedom and press it to the skin and try to carve a path to a better tomorrow. Standing on the balcony, I wish to take a leap of faith, hopefully to silence the screams of failure. I wish I could go to sleep and just sleep and never wake up, because I got to the point where I couldn't tell the difference between my dreams and my reality. I got to the point where I couldn't tell the difference between love and hate, because they seemed to go hand in hand so perfectly. The citizens in my head wanted to overthrow their queens. You see, I felt I was only listened to when I was being destructive, so I spoke with a poison on my tongue as I choked on my own cries for help. I had no fight left in me. My soul had died, but God's fight for me was stronger. He fought to keep me alive, and he won. So like Jesus, my soul resurrected. So I'm here, I'm breathing, I'm living, I'm smiling. I'm going to sleep at night wanting to wake up. I'm here, standing, changing, because I will make a difference. Can you make a difference? Give somebody a hug, a smile, give them your time, listen to their stories. Yeah, everybody has problems, but who wants to struggle alone? Give someone love, because it's the only thing that lets us know we're human. It lets us know we can still feel and connect. And that's my plan, because God didn't keep me alive for nothing.
Ready? Let's see the scores for Adana. 7.7, 7.4, 7.2, 7.8, 7.4.
Okay, moving right along. Moving right along. We got Alex Casey Hain.
Okay, this poem is dedicated to someone who's actually sitting in this audience. Dad, what does that mean to you? Fed you food when you were sick? Taught you baseball? Maybe that's you, but not me. From house to house we fled like criminals, thieves out for souls, out for shelter. But it's kind of hard to feel safe when the rain streaming down your face reminds you of tears. Tears you were sure to cry if your dad left you. Little green house with the power outage problem. The brown one with a certain black lab and a grabber control freak. The basement, remember that? How the rats stole our bread, like we weren't the thieves? Taking shelter, stealing safety, like we weren't the ones who had messed up one too many times and had to move on? 9 times to be exact, 13 altogether. All back to the blue house where it started, the one on Martha Street. But the only time I would see you was when Mom was yelling and throwing things. Maybe not objects, but words sting worse than a fist when they come out of a mouth that used to comfort you, Dad. Remember those houses? Remember the book I tried to read at the Power Edge house, but I couldn't because it was written through the eyes of an autistic kid? How you'd light the candles around the house when the fuse blew. Incense thick in the air, a blanket of false comforts, and I'd cling to you as we went to the back of the house to spark it back up. Chocolate croissant a day kept the sad feelings at bay. Legs shorter than my ability to resist such a heavenly treat. Those were the times. I remember Damien, how I met him because I was trying to communicate with his caramel camo cat. That house, I think, was my favorite. But I think that was because that was the time I realized you would never leave us. Maybe you were a little fat, your stomach hugging your belt for dear life, but that just made it more fun to wear your oversized t-shirts for PJs. Maybe you didn't have much money, so we ate those microwave foods every night that were kind of plastic, a little dull, and suspiciously sticky in places where sticky should not be described. Or you had to sleep on the couch while I slept on the other couch while Danny snoozed on the futon. But those were the times I loved the most. When I lost a tooth and left the fairy a note with checkboxes on how much dollars she was willing to give me. My delight the next morning to find, lo and behold, a note back from the fairy herself with a picture of a fairy body and a tooth head. And a shiny quarter smiling back at me. We didn't know you were broken, Daddy, even if you thought you were, because even though we had rats, remember the rats? We still loved you, love you to this day. You taught me how to draw. You saw me for who I was, even before I could. Your morals were the bricks, and your caring attentions behind them the mortar. To build the perfect house. Maybe not a mansion, maybe not a castle, or even a 2-story building, but the perfect house, a family.
What's the scores? 7.6, 7.5, 7.3, 7.5, 7.7.
Now I know I'm going to mess this one up. Ka? Rashid? No. What was it?
Kairika Rashid.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Finally. This is called Patience is Passion. See, I know nothing gold can stay, but I'm trying to stay gold. This right here is my most prized possession to hold. I know that's what you are ready for because what you've done, what you've seen, and what you've been told. But I need you to realize we're in a good place right now, and I don't want to fold. Back to that locked up, chained and imprisoned me. So that's why I need you to stop. Take a look at me. Step outside your body. Walk in mine. Walk around and see. To look at my beauty inside. I know you see it out, but look who I will become and who I will be. Right now, we're in that stage where our emotions just built up. We just hit that 5-month stage. We walk around the halls. People just started to know what's up. You tell me you love me and I love you, but really, is that enough? You're so ready for the next level, but not the little stuff. Things fly over your head like a sky and it's plain. What is it going to take you to realize that you're different and you're not the same? You're not that little old 8th grade boy running around playing games. At the end of the day, you chose this. You chose me. You chose us. We got all the time in the world, boy. We don't need to rush. Time is always here, but always wasted too. As long as you're willing to waste time with me, it's vice versa for you. Wait till we can't wait no more. We have the patience. I know it's hard to resist with all these feelings that have been racing. We are young and things are rough all over. Understand, this is a treasure here and it takes time to unravel and discover. Don't give up. Don't let go. Give it a chance. All you have to do is reach out. Look up. Look up. There it is. There goes my hand. I am here. I am here. Look, look. See me. See me. I am here. Give me a chance. Let me in. I am here. Look, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. I will survive. But can't you see me? It's yours. It's mine. It's ours together. Trust me. Trust my heart. Trust my mind. Trust my soul. Trust forever.
Let's see the scores. 8.1, 7.7, 7.9, 8.0, 7.5.
Alec Casey. There he is.
I sit down to write poetry, and my mind goes blank, a clean slate, like I was just born yesterday. I sit down to write poetry, and I feel like an old man with Alzheimer's, trying to remember about what to write as an epic battle that I can't win. I sit down to write poetry, and when I remember things in my life that I can write about, I sweep them under the rug, because I'm afraid to think about them like a little kid is afraid of the dark. I'm afraid to think about the time I was shunned by other kids in the cafeteria, or I said something was gay, because I didn't know the emotional implications the phrase had, or my middle school crushes. I'm basically afraid to write about my childhood in general. I sit down to write poetry, and the stories I can write about are boring, like the time I fell from the statue in the park, or when I was afraid of thunderstorms. I sit down to write poetry, and I become distracted at the beautiful day outside, or the cars rushing by, or the kids playing pickup basketball down the street. I sit down to write poetry, and I look at the clock, slowly counting down to my deadline. My doom. It's like an ominous timer counting down to one's execution. I sit down to write poetry, and thoughts come to my head about how I seem to forget everything, how I'm afraid of some past memories, like when I was shunned in the cafeteria, or the time I said something was gay because I didn't know the baggage of emotional implications, or my middle school crushes because my other stories are boring, mundane, insipid, banal, jejune. How I become distracted looking at the day outside and the cars rushing by, how I look at the clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. But then I remember the many stories that I'm afraid to write keep my story alive. If I didn't have these memories, I'd have none at all. Everyone has memories like these. It's what makes their lives unique, individual, different. I sit down to write poetry.
Okay, let's see the scores. 8.0, 8.7, 7.7, 7.3, 8.0.
In the front. Sarah Adams.
Stop it. Okay. Stop it. Okay, can you hear me okay? Okay. No? Louder? Is this good? Okay, cool. Okay. Daddy's first heartbreak taught me, no matter how much you love someone, and no matter how much you will commit someone, things change. Forever bonds break, the lust begins to ache. Close proximity makes the heart grow weary, mouth grow angry, eyes grow cold. Even those little tiny things, that little tiny baby girl of love can't keep it all together. Daddy's second heartbreak, being 7 years old at the time, I don't remember all that well, taught me that the harder and faster you fall, the more it will hurt. Like hurtling through the air, you know you'll crash, but you still flail your arms as if it would help. Two can be connected by more than each other. Daughters to daughters, sons to sons, turns to stepsisters and stepbrothers. Love at first sight? No, lust at first sight. Want at first sight with desperation and loneliness clouding his vision. But Daddy's third and fourth heartbreak taught me, even if you're broken, one little thing has a power to fix you. Baby boy, my brother, with a smile so bright you didn't have to turn the lights off, or a book. That no matter what happens, the one you loved will always have a little corner in your heart, body, mind, soul, all to themselves, and just because love isn't there doesn't mean hate is. That the time between a broken and mended heart can be as short as a weekend or as long as a lifetime. And I guess things can just be opposite like that. A bond that can only be broken by death, and a bond that broke with a 300-page paperback and a Ziploc left on the porch because you were both too afraid and upset to talk. I think the most important thing I've learned, that the best you can do is be someone who will take a person on all their flaws and accept them, take all their mistakes and fix them. Someone who will be there when the waters get a little rough or when they're so choppy they fear they might drown. That no matter what, taking your anger out on loved ones only makes things fragile and damaged like a small town after a tornado. First, for all the memories those high school sweethearts shared. Second, for the lust that blurs your vision and blinds your judgment. Third, for the friendship born of failed love. Fourth, for the lonely heart trying to find its way back home. But Daddy's fifth heartbreak taught him little girls will grow up. That putting his daughter away to the bottom of his list leaves room for error, and he doesn't get to act surprised when all along he saw but ignored the razors on the nightstands and the food in the garbage and the long nights and early mornings with the IRD 8s and tired eyes and hidden bloody wrists. That, Dad, I needed you to be on my side, to listen to my feelings instead of saying they were wrong, because the monster in the mirror is slowly taking over. Can't name it, hurts too much. Coming in so close, I suffocate, trying to say the words I've carved into my skin. If I wasn't good enough for you to care about me, then how could I be good enough for myself or anyone else? I wanted, I craved, I needed your respect and love and care, things you seem to be totally willing to give other people you've only known for a few months, but not to your daughter who is struggling every day of her life for 15 years to scavenge what was left of your attention. Something that my dull eyes and protruding bones screamed at you for, but my mouth was too afraid to say. Dad, love means sticking with what you already have instead of wanting what you can't.
All right, judges, let's see your scores. 7.8, 7.2, 7.5, 7.3, 7.6.
Oh, we got Louis Selt.
All right, before I start, this poem is dedicated to someone in the crowd. This is dedicated to my little brother, Eddie, and the most important person in my life. Love you, Eddie. I watch you make the phone call. I see your bright face light up as the phone is answered. But time and time again, I see your smile turn into a frown as an excuse comes fumbling from your classmate. I'm busy. I have family in town. It doesn't matter. They all mean the same. Rejection. And my heart cracks every time I see you break down and cry because that friend you are seeking is nowhere nearby. There's the occasional kid that's forced by sympathetic parents to play with you for a while. Like you're some charity case that needs a small donation, and they think by giving you one small playdate, they've played their part. But what you need is a friend. A real one. I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend, but I'll never be more than your brother. And as hard as I try, and as much as I play with you, I'm still just your brother. And you want a friend. A friend who will have sleepovers with you, go on trips with you, share moments with you, make time for you. A friend who will stick with you through thick and thin. You see that the other kids have this, why can't you? Is it because you are forever branded by kids your own age as being different, special? They look at you as outcast and push you aside no matter how hard you try. You want to fit in and be like the others, you do, but there's no room in this group of friends for someone with an extra chromosome, someone with a different face, someone who's a little shorter, walks a little different, talks a little slower. They make you feel battered, broken, bruised, hurt, handicapped, retarded. Retarded. The word stings in my ears, buzzing like a bee inside my head I cannot get out. Because every time I hear this word from my peers, when they say it as a jeer, I wonder whether or not they understand, comprehend the diminishing, degrading value of this word to all those thousands out there like my brother. Those who are not born with the same opportunities as others. Those who came out of the womb with a chip on their shoulder because from the day they are born, they have a battle to fight. A war against the uncomfortable looks they face as they walk down the street. The chuckles behind their backs at the way they look. And you choose to make their life worse by repeating this word. I just want you to have that friend. I see you laugh and play with a friend who knows you, who cares about you. I see you laugh and play like the other kids. I see you surrounded by a sea of supporting friends. I see you beam brighter than the sun because after all the searching and lonely days, you have found the one you were looking for. Eddie, I see you laugh and play.
Judges, show your scores. 8.0, 7.6, 9.7, 8.3, and 9.0.
All right, we got Taya Johnson.
Picture this. I am 10 years old. My father looks at me with sad eyes as he tells me that we've lost our apartment. He tells me to pack all my favorite things first because I might not be able to pack all of it. He tells me he's sorry and I cry. So does he. And then he hugs me and tells me that he loves me and I cry harder. But I'm not crying because I'm losing my stuff or my home. I'm crying because my father, my Superman, is crying. And I didn't think superheroes could cry. At 12 years old, after years of staying at friends' houses, my dad tells me he's found a boat on Craigslist for free, and he intends to live on it. I tell him that's the shadiest thing I've ever heard, and I laugh. So does he. My father stands tall even after years of the world trying to beat him down because he has a secret weapon against everyone. He wields a big smile like the mightiest sword of all time and brings it out when life challenges him to a duel. He sends life running with his secret weapon. Wearing his paint-splattered jeans like a suit of armor, he's truly a warrior amongst men. Dad, you always tell me how I'm just like you, and I hope that means I can be as strong as you. I hope I will be able to look adversity in the eye and say, I'm not afraid of you. You and I have always been one and the same, laughing at the same time, crying at the same time, and thinking the same thing. And even now, as I read this poem and begin to tear up, I feel you in the audience tearing up as well, because we feel the same pain. I am 15 now, and my dad's car, along with thousands of dollars of tools, has been stolen. But he still soared to my door like Superman in tattered blue jeans to take me to school. And I hope that everything works out. I hope he doesn't let this get the best of him. I hope the world stops treating my dad's life like a game of Jenga, knocking down the pieces just as we've built them up and forcing us to rebuild it. I hope this time the pieces pick themselves back up. So does he.
Let's have the scores. 7.9, 7.8, 8.0, 8.1, 8.0.
This says parentheses not Alex Gerald. Alex Gerald!
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me when I'm back here? Not as much? No. Okay. Yeah, so this poem doesn't have a name, but I do. My name is Alex Gerald. As wonderful Paul Smith just told you. All right. Growing up, drinking white privilege from my sippy cup. I didn't have to think about it till right about now. We didn't have to speak about it, so we didn't. I remember once when I was 8 years old talking to my father walking down the stairs. I'd been to the reunions. I'd done the math, so that makes me half black? He said, yeah, and then proceeded to the laundry room. Out of my sight, not out of mind. I didn't take a step down, and he never stepped up, so that conversation, it ended right there, with 13 green carpeted stairs between us. See, Daddy grew up in the South, Prairie View, Texas, a black college town, and he remembers when he was 8 years old moving up here to Portland, Oregon. Now, his dad was the first black principal in the whole state, Irvington School, 1968, but little Billy, he noticed something strange. Awkward small talk at the water fountain. It's different here, because we don't say it with a sign, we say it with a smile. This water's not for chocolate. But not to him. See, the color of his skin put him on the inside out looking, put him on the outside looking in, double agent Negro. But see, not to him. See, the color of his skin put him on the inside looking out and the outside looking in. Double agent Negro, well disguised. He grew up to be a teacher, and I guess his son shaping up to be a preacher, saying it really doesn't matter what's in here, y'all, because motherfuckers will never ever stop judging books by the covers. And you have no idea how excited I get when a black person calls me brother. Bottom line is what's on the outside, see? Nobody crosses the street to avoid me. Nobody clutches their purse when they pass me, and I ride the fine line between grateful and offended. I overthink a lot of shit. And when I need peace, I disappear. Good luck finding me, Dad. I escaped to that place that you ran off to when I was 8, remember? Out of sight, not out of mind. And I ball up all our dirty laundry and bleach it clean. We don't hang it out to dry, we put it in the machine. And it's a sick fucking cycle, but it's funny because a white guy on my black side gave me my last name. George Bruce Gerald. He was a well-respected man down in Waco, like 6, maybe 7 generations back. He was a judge, a Civil War vet. He got his arm shot off in a duel at one point. He was a badass, and I even think there was a town named after him. But anyway, a couple years ago at a reunion, my Aunt Trudy pulled out an article that said, "The last of Judge Gerald's descendants are dead." Whoever wrote it didn't know about that other family that he raised. They were cracking up laughing at a cheap hotel, and a woman who I'm not quite sure how we're related stood up and put a glass down and yelled, "God damn! After all these years, the Gerald name is back on the white side." Cut to background singers. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we're free at last. So Dad, you can find me where I've been all night in the laundry room separating coloreds from whites. Thank you.
I know what you're trying to do. Okay, judges, let's see the scores. Tim. 8.8, 9.7. All right. That is the end of round 1. We're going to take a very short intermission. We are going to find out who are the top 5 scorers, and they will go in round 2. All right, while we're waiting for the judges, I will tell you who our top 5 scorers are, who will be competing in round 2. Oh, nice drum roll. Thank you. All right. We have Alex Gerald. Louis Selt. Sydney Oliver. Rachel Perry. And Maya Montgomery. So, my 5 poets, we have put your names back into the fishbowl. So we will once again be drawing them out. While we wait for our last judge, I'm wondering if the lovely Sun Richter would come share a poem that she really wanted to have recorded for posterity, and we love her so. We're going to let her share that poem before we start round 2.
I promise I won't cry this time, maybe. All right. So this one is called Peach, and it's dedicated to all American Airlines and their stupidly expensive tickets. Listen, Peach. I know it sometimes seems like I don't have a lot to say, and I know how annoying one-word replies can be. But let me tell you that when I type OMG, it doesn't stand for oh my God. It stands for the song that I'm too afraid to write for you. And when I make that little :O, it's because I'm trying to convey how I'm captivated by the way you string words together like it's nothing and it turns out soft as silk. And that if you ever ask me why I typed something and deleted it, it's because I can't find the right way to tell you that your bones are made of stardust. And even if I could find the right way, it most certainly wouldn't fit into 140 characters. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to kiss you through my computer screen. How many times I beat myself up because my message didn't go through, and how many times I felt my stomach flutter because I thought I felt a buzz in my pocket. Let me tell you this, though. Sometimes I lay awake at 2 in the morning, wishing I had wings and blushing into the light of my phone, wondering how on earth I got the entire ocean to like me because I fell head over heels into you and somehow I'm not drowning. I don't even understand how this works so well, Peach. They call me strong, they call us strong, but they don't understand that our strength comes from each other. They ask me to describe you, and I smile because my heart fills with a current that never seems to waver, even though every adjective I can possibly think of falls short because there's so much to describe. But I can only wish there was more. I can only wish I could describe how she grips my hand as I don't know myself. Because somehow 2 broke teenagers found each other from across the country, and we're still counting pennies on our virtual fingers, and I'm singing for her with my virtual voice because I know she still has that recording. Oh, oh, Haley, your hand has touched my heart. Oh, oh, Haley, I won't let anything in this world keep us apart. I won't let anything in this world keep us apart, and I mean that, because if I can love you from this much from 2,000 miles away, Peach, God only knows what it'll be like when that plane lands. Thank you.
Come on. Oh, we got Louis Selt.
This will be a nice change of pace from my last poem and from a lot we've been hearing, but this is called Life. Life. Endless possibilities await if you view your future as a gate, or rather, a series of gates that you must open. For every new mountaintop is just another plateau. Life. And that's not to say you won't encounter obstacles. On your way to unlock that gate, other gates will sprout up like weeds, some seemingly small, others so dauntingly large, so terrifically, terrifyingly huge. Some are fiery gates spiked at the top. These gates will come, and you feel like you have no choice but to run. Some gates make you feel empty and dumb. You continue to run. Some leave you feeling shocked and numb. You quicken to a sprint. You're sprinting so fast that you can't breathe, so you collapse and fall to your knees. A hand closes around your neck, and you feel it squeeze, screaming, "Somebody help me, please!" Calm down. Breathe. Life. Inhale. Exhale. You can look at things two ways, glass half empty or glass half full. One will make you angry, confused, diabolical, the possibility of developing a drinking habit probable, and depression unstoppable. The other option represents the attitude that nothing is impossible. It will make you relaxed and contained, void of all your pain. This rule determines whether or not you will be content or chaotic, forever free or frantic, successful or drug addict, sane or a manic psychotic who has a need for narcotics in the hospital full of antibiotics. Let's change the topic. Life. Banish all your negative thoughts. Let me return to my point. To sum it up, life can suck. You can receive sucker punches to the guts, a kick in your nuts. Along your journey, you will receive sprains and cuts, physically as well as symbolically. But if I have learned anything in my 16 short years, which has contained a fair amount of roller coasters and tears, confusion and fears, struggles with my peers, it is that in life, you simply must continue. Life. Endless possibilities await if you view your future as a gate. They say it's a small world. That's a lie. Earth is a big place with 7 billion people waiting to meet you. Your dreams and goals stare at you in your face. But don't worry. Life is not a race. And even if it was, you don't have to come in first place. Learn to play the game of life at your own pace. You will make your mistakes, but bad memories are something you can always replace. Life. Very few people become one of the elite. Upper class, 1%. This poem is for the 99, or maybe 50% of us feeling lonely with nowhere to go. Remember, you always have a choice. If you're in a rut, chin up and raise your voice. Life is a long drive and you're behind the steering wheel. Unexpected problems will cause you to lose control and peel, maybe even crash. But you can always get back on track. Stay in your lane and go the speed limit. Sometimes. Other times you're allowed to coast. My glass is half full. Life.
All right, let's see Louis' scores. 7.5, 8.3, 7.7, 7.4, 8.1.
Maya Montgomery.
This poem is called A White Girl's Guide to Color. Growing up, my textbook said everyone is created equal, but life taught me otherwise in the sequel written in the voices of people around me. They told me the rules that I'm supposed to follow, the truths that I'm supposed to swallow. They wrote me a handbook on what color should mean to me. Don't talk about it except on forced occasions. Don't acknowledge the difference. It's not polite. Here's how you spell Caucasian, but really, you can just put white. Here is the box you check off for yourself. Climb inside, get comfortable. You might be here a while. No, there's nothing we can say to sway these bigots from the thought that it's okay to weigh people's worth on the color they display. Just ignore it, and it'll go away. Someday. Maybe. Say African American instead of black. Don't laugh when someone makes an Asian joke. It's your responsibility to avoid offending anyone. Be sorry. Here's how to apologize for your privilege. This is what you take for granted. Get used to this pigment planted in your skin and be grateful. Here's how your skin color warps the meaning of everything you say, the meaning of everything you see, the way others see you. Here's how your skin color paves the road for you. You are lucky. When you analyze someone at surface level, run their skin color through your database and plaster your conclusions over their personality, you're letting color define a person. Your unconscious stereotypes can only worsen the situation, in which coloration is more important than the words you let loose, the results you produce. Don't let subliminal messages be your excuse. But here's your stereotype that fits you like a second light skin because you are white-skinned and white people are all the same. You are safe. Color contributes to students falling behind in a system not designed for them, pretending it's colorblind while simultaneously reminding everyone to stay confined in their assigned categories and predetermined expectations. This system was made for you. You are boring, exotic is sexy, so tan the paleness from your limbs, but stay on this side of fair because color is a disadvantage. You can't be proud of your background. There is nothing profound in the way your ancestors ran their ships aground and crowned themselves kings of the lands they'd found. Your people hacked graves into the blood-stained earth. Your people slipped shackles into the language of laws. Your people spew hatred from their lips like poison. Your legacy? Discrimination. Feel guilty. This Ferris wheel isn't broken, but it's moving too slow. Some people are stuck low on the bottom and don't know how beautiful the view can be from up top where you're sitting. Remember all of that, they tell me, but there are so many different voices that conflict and contradict. I can't always tell the wrong from right. All I know for sure is that I'm white, and that means something. Here's the rule I write for myself. We are all equal, theoretically, but real life isn't so black and white. Reality is colorful. Thank you.
All right, judges, do you have Maya's scores? See them. 8.3, 9.0, 8.9, 8.5, 9.2.
Sydney Oliver.
So this poem is dedicated to Henry Soltvedt. I didn't know him, but I wrote it for the people who did. Hey, you guys remember that kid, Henry? Henry something? That was so sad. He's just another conversation piece, another item of interest that people can talk about so they can go to bed that night thinking that they have shed some light upon a sad situation so they can move on to the newest topic of gossip. Because people will forget, they will move on, because people don't want to talk about how he died. Or that he died at all, because people are uncomfortable with the fact that a boy that never really had the chance to live now can't. Because then that brings up the limited longevity of our own existences, and we can't have that. I heard he killed himself. I heard it was an accident, and what really is the difference between the two? Yes, it was a tragic accident that Henry didn't believe he was worth something. Accidents that led up to the reason that people wouldn't play hangman in class anymore. Mistakes. Mistake like when you say fag in the presence of a gay person. Another word we want to omit, another touchy subject. My brother is gay and he's proud, and because we live in a tolerant city, nobody thinks anything of it. Or maybe they do, but they know it's a touchy subject. Tolerance like we tolerate. We give them the privilege to breathe our air, walk our streets, but sometimes they can't breathe. Choked by all the words they want to say, choked by all the whispers and jeers that they have to swallow to force down their throats. The opposite of the rhyme that they've always promised wouldn't hurt us. I'd like to hurl my own sticks and stones, but no matter how many bruised knuckles, broken fists, black and blue eyes, they won't fix the bruises on people's hearts. Spitballs that sink into the skin and worm their way into the mind like a parasite. As far as I know, Henry was never bullied. I never even knew him at all. Maybe some of the halls a couple of times. It is all a series of mistakes. Honest mistakes. Honest because they probably didn't know they were killing him slowly. Mistake that he doesn't listen to his second grade teachers or his parents or those L'Oreal commercials when they told him he was worth something. They all thought it was a lie, told to keep themselves breathing, told to keep away from another tragedy, another touchy subject. I wish they would have waited. All those people that had run out of batteries but couldn't get any replacements, waited to see what life could really be, give it the old college try. They didn't like the lemons that life gave them. They were too sour, too bitter, not sweet enough. And now we hold all those what ifs, and I wish I could have done more's on our shoulders. For all those people who are in their obituaries, they only say where and when they passed away. As if the location and the time mattered more than the how and the why. As if the phrase passed away could cushion the hurt and make it seem better. To say no, he didn't die, he passed. I imagine someone slowly crumbling to dust like all the villains in those kid movies when they were vanquished. People don't want to talk about how he died because they said it wasn't important, and to some it isn't. They want to be shielded from the truth because it isn't pretty. They try to sugarcoat it to make it seem better. Wait. They try to sugarcoat it to make it seem better. And I have the choice to forget him as if he did slowly crumble to dust. I have the choice to omit his existence and his death as if he wasn't worth anything. He could be another bad word, another touchy subject, because we don't want to talk about it. Thank you.
All right, let's see the scores for Sydney. 7.9, 8.8, 8.8, 7.7, 8.6.
All right, we got Rachel Perry.
Yes, that sounds good. Okay. Well, I made Sun cry right before she went up to do her slam poem, and I'm still sort of teary from hers, so, you know, well done. The first time we went on a date, neither of us knew we were on a date. I spent the whole concert singing love songs into her hair and trying to work up the nerve to kiss her, and she spent the whole concert tucked under my arm and thinking about how right it felt. The first time I ever told anyone about my crush on her, I ended up with a girlfriend who smiles even bigger when I tell her how much I love the sound of smiles. The first time I saw her after we realized we both liked each other, I was wearing Argyle socks and a Yeti hat, and she was wearing a cow suit and fairy wings. And we walked through haunted mazes and watched scary movies, and I held her in the crook of my arm just like I did at that first concert. The first time I ever kissed her, I spent about 10 minutes lying in bed with one arm flung across her stomach in dead silence. The kind of silence that fills up the space, and all I could think was, why am I swallowing so much? Where will my nose go? What if my nose bumps her nose? Where will my nose go? Where will my nose go? Where will my nose go? I got really hung up on the nose thing. And then I kissed her, and my nose did not bump her nose, and we were silent. And then we burst out laughing, and we didn't stop laughing until our lungs had filled up with and expelled all of the air in the room, and then we would gather ourselves and laugh more, and I swear nothing, that first kiss could not have been more true to us, all nervous energy and first times. The first time we celebrated a year of being together, I made her 90 paper stars, so whenever she was feeling lonely, she could look at those 90 little wishes I had folded with my own hands. Hands that she says are stable and strong, though they are not immune to nervous shaking. Hands that trace the birthmark on her neck that, no, is not a hickey. Hands that run so perfectly through her hair, that hold her so steadfastly. Hands that fit with her hands like the roots of two ancient trees, knotted together, growing side by side. Those hands that I have tried to not let go of as often as possible, but sometimes there are gaps where our fingers don't intertwine for days on end, but when they finally do, it feels like we've never let go, like blades of grass and shards of glass and birch bark and fire sparks, and everything on this green earth has somehow held us together, so we were never truly apart.
Okay, are we ready for Rachel's scores? Judges. 8.0, 8.9, 8.3, 8.5, 8.9.
Yeah. yeah, of course you. Yeah. Alex Garfield. Alex Gerald, come on, Alex Gerald, let's go. Yeah, Alex Gerald.
Okay, so this poem, does it have? I don't think this poem has a name either. My name's still Alex Gerald, not Garfield. And this was actually the first poem that I ever performed at a slam. It was at Cleveland's high school's poetry slam last year, because I didn't go here. So then I was like, why didn't I slam? And so I went to Cleveland and pretended that I was a student. And then they found out that I wasn't and let me slam anyway. And I actually finished this poem on the way down there on the bus. Oh, I do have a name for it. It's called Southbound on the 75. It's been tweaked since then because that was kind of shaky. And the beast lurched forward. I'm in my favorite spot, arms crossed in the corner, and the glass on the back of my head is cold, and the back door is just where I like it, close. 6:02, and there's this beautiful girl with just enough makeup to hide her face from the world. She's got her hair all done up and these pale blue eyes, and when she turned and I saw them, I could tell something wasn't right. And it wasn't just the fact that she was blind. She kept her head down and she spoke real soft, submissive, to the man in the seat directly next to her. He was much older, not the lover, and much darker, not the father, and he had a gold chain hanging around his neck. Now, I don't know, but I'd be willing to bet that his however many greats grandfather was a slave, and now here he is today working in the same trade, but on the other side where he calls the shots, and I stop. Because that is not my business, and I could be wrong. 6:13. My mind turns left, and my body follows. There's this kid. Maybe 5 years old, but he's speaking to his mother like she's a piece of shit with venom that I've never heard that little of a kid spit, and everybody on the bus is thinking the same thing. Either what a shame or what the fuck or something in between, and mommy sits almost crying as her little boy degrades her. Stupid, lazy, I hate you. And a man steps up and tries to lay down the law and says there's probably no father figure in the picture at all. But wait, nobody talks like that unless they learn it. I didn't want to think about it further. 6:26, and my gaze shifts to this kid in the back. He's kind of punk, but maybe not. He's wearing all black, and he's got this little plastic bag to his chest, like it's the only thing left. And he reaches in and pulls out a piece of lettuce. With a little Caesar dressing. But he doesn't just eat it. He feels it. He consumes it. His friend's talking a little bit too loud about a shroom trip as he becomes the leaf. But there's a problem. Parmesan cheese, just one little piece he's got stuck in his teeth, and he takes it, and he feeds it to the shadows, and I stepped off that bus at 39th and Powell. Thank
you. Judges, you have Alex scores. Here we go. Let's see them. 8.0, 9.5, 9.6, 8.2, 9.4. Okay, so that is the end of round 2. I am going to squire the mathematicians into the back room so we can figure out who are our top 3 finishers. The top 3 will get a prize, and the top 2 will go to Verselandia. Thanks to everyone for hanging in through 2 rounds of great poetry. Okay, so in 3rd place, and the person who will be the alternate to Verselandia with 51.7 points is Rachel Perry. Okay, 2nd place, whoo, this was close, with 51.9 points, Senior Maya Montgomery. All right, and joining Maya to represent us at Verselandia in 1st place with 54.1 points is Alex Gerald. Okay. So can I say one more thing? Okay. Pushy. All right. So Verselandia will be happening April 29th. This year it's at the Girding Theater. Starts at 7 o'clock. And if you're interested in tickets, come see me. So I guess Alex is going to lay one more poem on us. And I'll have to say, when you said to me earlier that you went to the Cleveland Slam, I thought it was just to sit in the audience. I didn't know he actually snuck in and slammed them. Wow.
This one's short, so it's good. This is not an airplane. It's a poem. It won't go very fast or very far, but it'll go. It's on autopilot with a mission that it doesn't know. It's trying to get from A to B in a straight line, but it doesn't navigate. It just flies. That was it. that was it.